Hi there, friends. I hear it or read it in the comments all the time. You want freedom, but you still got bills to pay. You're tired of the grind, but walking away feels impossible. I get it. That was me. I was burned out in a career that paid well, but cost me my health, my energy, and my sense of self. In this video, I'm going to share exactly how I started building a life of freedom without blowing up my finances. And I'm going to give you some options that you might try as well. I will walk you through the timeline of the steps that I took to reclaim my time, reduce my expenses, and create a little breathing room so that I could pivot into something even better. Let's talk about how you actually budget for a life that you don't want to escape from. First of all, you need to get clear on the real cost of staying where you are. We all know freedom is expensive, but do you know what's also expensive? Burnout, chronic stress, health issues, lost time. For me, staying in a job that didn't align ultimately led to severe insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, thyroid issues, anxiety, brain fog, and exhaustion that no amount of PTO could fix. Not only is chronic stress a real threat to your health, but spending all of your energy trying to get through every workday makes it really hard to take care of yourself. So ask yourself, what is staying here already costing me? Physically, emotionally, financially. Physically, so all of us who live in the United States know how much it costs to be sick in today's healthcare system. It could bankrupt you. Emotionally, well, if I weren't emotionally drained by my job, how much more energy could I spend on my relationships, my hobbies, and building something that feels right? Financially, how much is this costing me to do the work that I don't love? Commuting, buying work clothes, eating out. Working is actually costing you time and money in ways that you may not have thought of. And if it's also draining you emotionally, spiritually, and physically, it's a no. Now, after you've gotten clear on what it's costing you to stay put, step 2 is to track your spending like you mean it. Before you can make space for something new, you need to know where your money's actually going. I used Excel spreadsheets because I'm a nerd like that. And now I've actually switched to Google Sheets because Microsoft costs money now and I'm not doing that. But you can use a budgeting app like YNAB, You Need a Budget, or Rocket Money. Some of those are free, some of them cost money. I actually just started with YNAB and I haven't figured it out yet, but I might let you know in a future video. You need to track your fixed expenses like your rent, your mortgage, your insurance, utilities. Then you've got variable expenses like food, gas, subscriptions, and you've got emotional spending. Yes, the comfort Amazon purchases count. Look for 2 things when you're tracking all of these. What can you eliminate that doesn't align with your goals? Where are you funding your own exhaustion? Emotional spending really needs to go completely. Your variable expenses likely have a lot of room for improvement, and you might even want to tackle your fixed expenses like downsizing your housing, moving to an area that has a lower cost of living. This step is really uncomfortable, but it's powerful. Now figure out the minimum amount that you need to cover your basic expenses for however long you want to give yourself to build what's next. For me, that number is $3,578 a month. I know I'm very lucky to have a mortgage payment of only $1,100 a month thanks to a 2.75 interest rate from a 2020 refi. And I live in a place where the cost of living is pretty low, so my basic expenses number is pretty low. Step 3, you need to create a freedom fund. You can call it what you want. A transition fund, an escape fund, a cushion, a safety net. But start it now, even if it's just $50 a month. Here's some ways that I built mine. I cut my grocery budget. by eating simply, cooking all my meals at home. I found cheaper ways to socialize than eating out, and I completely cut the cord on cable and streaming services. Vegging in front of the TV isn't good for me anyway, and it won't get me to where I want to go. I saved about $100 a month on cutting all my subscription services. I switched my phone plan from Verizon to Visible, and I saved about $50 a month doing that. I lowered my car insurance, this is not a Geico commercial, by changing my deductibles, not switching companies. I sold things that I no longer used, maybe $3,000 over like 3 months. The main thing is I stopped spending money on things that I didn't need, and I started staying home more, focusing on building healthy habits, low-cost hobbies like reading, cooking, gardening, and also beyond that, ditching the bulk of my social media scrolling helped a lot because it keeps me from falling prey to ads and it keeps my mindset positive. It helps keep me focused. I sleep so much better without social media, and the money started adding up pretty fast. So it gave me some space to breathe so I could start planning what was next. All right, step 4. This question always comes up in the comments whenever people start thinking about leaving a traditional job. What about health insurance? Yes, it does matter, especially if you have ongoing medical needs. But if you're relatively healthy, this doesn't have to be the thing that keeps you stuck. This year, after leaving my corporate job, I got a subsidized plan through healthcare.gov because I estimated my income for this year to be under $40,000. I qualified for a generous subsidy. So I've spent this entire year on a plan that cost me $0 per month. In September, I'll switch to employer coverage through my new teaching job. You may also qualify for Medicaid. You may have a spouse's plan that you can get on, or you might choose to go without coverage for a short period of time. I'm not saying you should, but some people do. And when you turn 65 or qualify for disability before that, you become eligible for Medicare. Bottom line is, don't let this one issue keep you from exploring a life that works better for you. Step 5. What if you're already drowning in debt? Here's something that I don't hear people say very often. I'm going to tell you a secret, and I haven't even told this to my own friends. I filed for bankruptcy years ago, Chapter 13. After the 2008 financial crash and the failure of a marriage and a coffee shop business that I poured everything into, I had to file bankruptcy because I was under a mountain of tax debt and the IRS wanted their money. I paid on that plan for 5 years. Chapter 13 is the wage earner plan. 2 years after it was discharged, I bought my home with a normal interest rate. It wasn't the end of the world. It was the beginning of a reset. And let's just say it plainly. Billionaires use bankruptcy to do resets all the time. Our current president has filed bankruptcy through his businesses 6 times. If billionaires can use the system to protect their assets and move on without shame, so can you. There are 2 main types, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 for regular people like us, and each of those has different rules. A professional can walk you through the right option for you. You can rebuild. I did. And at the time, it was the smartest financial decision that I could have made. It won't ruin your life. It might save it. And if you have debt, but not a catastrophic amount, not enough that you think you need to file bankruptcy, I'm going to point you toward Dave Ramsey's Debt Snowball. Regardless of what you might think of him, that's a really great tool for getting out of debt. And I'm going to tell you to go back to the YNAB and get a budget. Step 6, look for income that you can control. This isn't about hustling harder. It's about creating options. Ask yourself, what do people already come to me for? What skill can I offer in a small way maybe? Freelance, teach, consulting, creating. For me, it was teaching, writing, and creating content. I also pet sit a little bit for a friend who travels frequently. And I delivered groceries for a while and found it surprisingly enjoyable. If you've been around a while, you might remember all the side hustles I used to do, and I don't do that anymore because it was just too much. But for you, it might be organizing, if pet sitting, tutoring, project work, consulting, crafting. Use your imagination. Even $200 a month in flexible income changes the equation because it's proof that you can earn outside of a job that drains you. A word of advice, though, from my own experience, pick one or two things that you enjoy and stick to them. Don't try every side hustle that you find on YouTube at once. Ask me how I know. Step 7, reclaim your time 1 hour at a time. We focus so much on money that we forget time is freedom too. I started protecting my mornings. I said no to things that didn't matter to me. I gave up the evening Netflix scroll so that I could walk my dog, write, plan, stretch, do yoga, meditate. You don't need a 40-hour shift in your life. You need an hour a day to start building what's next. And if you're still working that full-time job that you can't leave yet, that's okay. Quiet quitting might be an option for you. If your job isn't aligned and your goal is to get out, then stop going above and beyond for something that drains you. I'm not telling you to be a slacker, but if your goal is to get out, protect your energy. Do what your job requires and what they pay you for, but stop overextending yourself for something that isn't aligned. Use the energy that you save to build your exit strategy, your side project, or just to feel like yourself again. That's not giving up. That's calling your energy back and using it with intention. Especially if you work for a soulless corporation that values money over people like I did. Quiet quit and don't feel guilty about it. We can take a page out of Gen Z's book when it comes to this. Our generation was raised with a strong work ethic, and in a lot of cases, our employers have exploited that. So you might be overachieving at work and it might not be getting you anywhere but used up. All right, step 8. Redefine what freedom means to you. You don't need an RV or a van, a trust fund, or even early retirement to feel free. What you need is time that's yours, work that doesn't make you sick, a peaceful place to live, even if it's only a room, and enough of a margin to make some choices. Freedom starts when you stop living on autopilot and stop giving your power away. Freedom, the way I define it, doesn't mean you don't have to do anything all day. It's not something that you get all at once. It's something that you create on purpose with every dollar, with every choice, with every boundary. I didn't leap, I pivoted. And if I can do it while paying bills and supporting a household, so can you. Drop a comment and tell me what your version of freedom looks like. And if this helped you, please share it with someone, because someone else out there is sitting at their kitchen table wondering if they're the only one. They're not, and you're not. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.